Next scene, we're down by the river south of Border Town, where our top captains are tearing down the cannon they just put together. Both of these tough guys are beat, griping to their boss that this thing is way too damn heavy. The chief knight then asks why he got stuck guarding this behemoth, since no one can move it an inch, let alone stealing it. Our hero just sighs, explaining it's not just something, it's a masterpiece built with blood, sweat, and the grind of steel. He wonders why others can't see its beauty like he does. Moving on, Lightning is itching to clean the barrel, so our hero gives her the green light to go ahead. Watching this eager tomboy happily doing her job, the knight gets confused and asks why Lightning hasn't signed a labor contract. Our hero explains she insisted on working for free as long as the prince kept inventing interesting stuff. All she needs are food and clothes, and this broke idiot couldn't pass up such a steal of a deal. After Lightning finishes cleaning the barrel and reports it's empty, she eagerly waits for the next step. Before we move on, our hero tells his soldiers to remember the first step, making sure there's nothing stuck inside the barrel. Next up, they need to load in the gunpowder and slap that cannonball on top, making sure to push it down real hard to get rid of any air. Then, they stick in a fuse to light up the party. Once everything's set, the prince tells everyone to clear out and lights the fuse. It starts sizzling right away, so everyone covers their ears to save their eardrums. Boom! The cannonball goes flying straight at the dummy and punches a hole right through its chest. While the hunter prays to God to see such devastating power, Vanner is also blown away. Even after smashing the dummy, the cannonball keeps going for another 100 meters, proving our mission's a total win. A 12-pound cannon can theoretically reach thousands, so these results are solid for a first shot. The knight respects the weapon's power, but worries it's too heavy to lug around. Cleaning, loading, and carting cannonballs and gunpowder is a hassle. Our hero nods, saying the effort's worth it if it means slaying hybrid demons effortlessly. He's already thinking of using ships to solve the weight problem, and has enlisted the old consul's help in acquiring sailboats from Willow Town. Wendy's wind control will increase transportation speeds for both civilians and cannons, aiding their strategy against the Duke of the Longsong Fortress. He envisions a pincer attack by approaching the Duke's army from the rear. So much for his boat dreams. The old man burst his bubble by saying they can't afford any sailing boats. A double-masted sailboat costs a whopping 120 golden coins, and that doesn't even cover the crew, which runs about 200 golden royals. Even if they blew all 315 golden coins they have in their treasury, they'd only get the boats, with no pay left for the civilian army next month. Back in the office, our hero keeps arguing with this stubborn geezer that he doesn't need a crew. But the old man keeps insisting that's not how things roll in Willow Town. Boats come with crews. If he wants a boat, he's got to hire them too. But then the prince gets this bright idea to buy boats from another town. But the old man shoots him down again, saying all the major ports are too far away and it'd cost a fortune to bring boats here to Border Town. But then our hero comes up with a crazy idea. Why not build a boat themselves? He says they don't need anything fancy, just something to float since Wendy will handle the steering. A simple flat-bottomed barge would do the trick. But then the old coot brings up another problem about the materials they'll use. Our hero confidently suggests using light wood, but then he realizes a boat of logs might not be as durable and reliable. He even considers having Anna help weld a proper metal boat, but he's already used up all the metal-making guns and stuff. Then, the idiot remembers they have tons of concrete left over from building the wall. He suggests using wood for the base and reinforcing it with steel rebar, then making the rest of the boat out of concrete. We don't need to waste any more time figuring out how he plans to make this boat happen. Let's just wait for our hero to finish up the blueprint and get started. Before long, we're down by the riverside at a makeshift boat workshop. They've already put together the basic structure of the boat. When Lightning sees the giant thing, she cracks a joke about it being a massive bathtub fit for a king's lavish baths. Our hero chuckles and corrects her, saying they're actually building a boat, not a bathtub. But Lightning is still skeptical. To her, it doesn't quite look like any boat she's seen before. While they banter back and forth, Wendy's happy to see Lightning and our prince getting along just fine. To which, Nightingale points out that getting along with others has always come naturally to Lightning. She was just as energetic back in the association days. The mention of the association immediately saddens Wendy out as she worries about her other sister's safety. Back in the mountain range, we see the witches marching down. As they walk, one of the sisters alerts everyone about the presence of demons. The teacher quickly tells Lady Leaf to lay her down and help the others. Lady Leaf gently puts her injured teacher on the ground. As the monsters approach, the witches stride forward to face them. Meanwhile, the teacher blames Nightingale for their sorry state and vows to get payback once she finds the holy mountain and gathers more witches. She hasn't forgotten about Wendy and Lightning either, feeling betrayed by them. When the monsters leap at them, Lady Leaf works her magic, summoning roots that grab the beasts, while Zephyr, another witch, sucks the air out of their lungs. Seeing the girls take down those monsters puts a grin on the teacher's face. She's sure that with their combined effort, they'll bring the church crashing down once they reach the holy mountain. The teacher decides to take a breather for a while here, but suddenly she's left in shock by what she sees before her eyes. She wonders aloud if this could be the holy mountain. Before them rise skyscraper-like structures that couldn't possibly be built by humans. The sight brings a giant smile to the teacher's face as she believes they've finally found the holy mountain. However, the others are not convinced. According to all the books, the holy mountain is supposed to be a serene and abundant place, which is drastically different from what they're seeing. Despite Leaf still being unsure, the teacher is going nuts over the grand structures and is absolutely convinced this is the holy mountain. Leaf hesitates to voice her doubts, recalling what the teacher did to Nightingale when she disagreed. Feeling she has no other choice, Leaf reluctantly starts walking forward. She's certain that if they don't explore further, the teacher will never rest. As they're walking, one of the witches suddenly drops dead. Lady Leaf tries to pause to mourn her friend, but the teacher snaps at her to keep moving forward, warning that stopping could mean their own death at nightfall. Leaf starts crying, torn between grief and the teacher's urgent commands. The teacher insists that lingering here would only invite demon attacks. They continue on, but then another witch realizes the supposed mountain they were aiming for has vanished. This sight shocks the teacher, who, let's face it, acts more like a tyrant than a caring leader. The teacher sinks into despair, recalling a city that's like an unreachable illusion in the sky, disappearing every time with the sunset. The snake woman declares it was all just an illusion, something she'd heard rumors of typically occurring at sea, but seeing it on land was unheard of. Suddenly, something approaches them, confirmed by another witch to be 3 demons once again. But this time, it becomes clear this new threat is not just a regular demon. This mysterious entity attacks one of the witches with some weapon, leaving Leaf frozen in place as her friend is struck down, a long spear piercing her chest in an instant. Leaf stares at where the spear came from with disbelief. Before them stand hybrid creatures, riding demonic beasts. Looking at their ripped bodies, it's no wonder they took down the girl with just one blow. One of the witches immediately uses her abilities to turn the ground into a swamp, but the creatures effortlessly leap from their mounts and land right in front of the women. One monster swings its hand, smashing a witch with brutal force, splattering blood everywhere, leaving the sisters absolutely terrified out of their minds. The beasts then turn towards the remaining sisters, who stand petrified and trembling in their boots. Suddenly, another monster fixates on a redhead among them. Her face pales as the creature approaches, its grotesque tongue-like appendage dangling from its mouth, which is a far cry from any normal tongue. Before the beast can reach her, it's struck by a fireball. Though it annoys the creature more than hurts it, the redhead grabs the hand of the traumatized orange-haired witch and urges her to run. But the orange-haired witch is so shaken that she's forgotten how to move. Another witch decides to confront and pulls out her puny bow, which, let's be real, looks like a toy, and she's brutally kicked by the monster right in the chest. She goes flying and sprawls on the ground, and it wouldn't be surprising if she died from that single blow. Despite seeing her friends drop like bugs, Wendy uses her root magic once again to try and immobilize one of the monsters, wrapping it from head to toe. The snake lady sends her snake to crawl around the beast, and together they bring the formidable creature to its knees. Wendy urges everyone to run while she keeps the monster restrained. Meanwhile, the other monster immediately retrieves a spear from its back. As it tries to throw the spear, its feet sink into the swampy ground. However, the monster manages to throw the spear with incredible speed, leaving only a trail of pink light as it goes straight for its target, leaving nothing but a haze upon impact. Well, surprisingly, Wendy manages to narrowly avoid the attack, but suddenly the other monster unleashes its electrical powers, zapping everyone in range. Once everyone is down, only Wendy and the cocky snake women remains. Wendy still does not want to accept this reality as how their world turned upside down in a short time. The monster walks forward toward the snake lady, and in the next moment the monster extends his giant hand and grabs her right away. As he lifts her up, She unleashes her poisonous snakes, and one of them bites the thing we thought was a tongue protruding from the monster's mouth. As soon as the snake sinks its teeth into the monster's appendage, a red fog starts leaking out. The monster annoyingly grabs the snakes with its bare hands and squeezes them hard enough. Tears of agony well up in the teacher's eyes while Wendy watches in horror. Suddenly, the demon drops the snake woman to the ground, while he himself appears to be choking and struggling for breath. You know what? This snake bitch totally deserved every bit of it, because she was getting under my nerves ever since she popped up into this story. Anyway, the monster's legs tremble and it collapses to its knees. The red mist completely drains from the container on its back, and the giant creature slumps lifelessly to the ground. It seems Wendy has started to piece together how to deal with these creatures. She then looks at the other monster flailing in the swamp, screaming and trapped. She spots that weird appendage, and takes a wild guess it might be their weak spot. Summoning her strength, she rushes over to her fallen sister and grabs the crossbow. With determination in her eyes, she aims straight for that appendage, yelling as she lets the arrow fly, hell-bent on avenging her fallen sisters. When the arrow hits, red mist starts pouring out, sealing her victory. Throwing the bow aside, Wendy drops to her knees with a heavy heart. The monster keeps oozing that red stuff as she's surrounded by her sisters' lifeless bodies. Tears stream down her face, her sobs echoing in the quiet aftermath. Back at the battleground hospital in Border Town, it seems Nana's time to hit her maturity has arrived. Everyone watches anxiously as she lies in bed, asking if she's going to die. The prince and the others immediately reassure her with warm smiles, telling her that everything will be okay, explaining that because she's been releasing her magic power every day, her magic won't turn against her.